Right behind you and making a turn to the east. I was going to sit right here and watch him. Well, he's in the port of San Pedro right now, stuck in a container yard. He came off the 110 freeway at C Street, turned into this container area. Now he's trapped in the corner here by the big lifts that bring those containers off of the ships. You can see his bumper hanging down. This thing has been going for quite a while. It started earlier today. The LAPD tried to stop this car, finding it by LoJack, and then he took off, lost LAPD. They gave up on the chase, then later on found him again. Chase went on. They chased him for a little bit, then stopped the pursuit because of the speeds. And then later on, Torrance Police Department picked up on the car, and they chased him for a little bit. And then again, the speeds got completely out of hand. They'd stopped the pursuit. And then later on, Hawthorne Police Helicopter Air 55 found it again using that LoJack and was able to catch this car again. Now, LAPD, or correction, LA Sheriff's helicopter is overhead right now, calling, as you see, just going back and forth along the area here underneath the cranes, just drifting around and nearly hitting that one service vehicle. Must slide a little bit out of the way here to get the cranes down there. But you see, it's just back and forth. So he is trapped right here on the peninsula of this container yard, going back and forth in the yard here. But this thing has been going for a while. It was stolen earlier today out of the driveway in Rancho Park. And the suspect here has just been really driving erratically. Like I said, you can see the bumper hanging off of it. But PD's been trying to stay with it. Right now, he's just out here drifting around. You see here, he's whipping around, going through there. He's going to go over the side if he's not careful. And right now, just kind of whipping around where the big container ships usually park. Luckily, there's not one there today. Not a lot of activity on this thing. But, yeah, I'm sorry, the ship was so big I didn't even see it. But, yeah, he's right here. And there's really very little activity on the dock, except for that one car. He's just swinging around in circles here on the dock. And the Sheriff's Department overhead has it contained from above, but they're trying to get units down here from LAPD or Sheriff's to get on here and try to get him. Now, I can see the port security. Port security is down here in their truck. That was the white truck you saw earlier ripping along. And it's right next to the Vincent Thomas Bridge, if folks down here in San Pedro are familiar with that. Just going right now. The trucks are getting out of the way for this guy. They don't want to end up with there. But you see the large container truck there. No activity on the dock as we speak. Normally this dock would be loaded up. Here comes another truck, head on with another truck here, zipping along, just right by that red cab truck, coming back out to the north here on the peninsula. He's going to run out of dock here if he makes this turn. And now he's swinging back around, heading back down south on the dock, just making those U-turns at just out really, really high rates of speed. But luckily right now in this area, the only thing he has to contend with is those security trucks down here keeping an eye on him. I'm not seeing any black and whites right now in the area on the dock or coming in. As I said, he was all over the west side of L.A., down through Torrance, into Hawthorne, headed down the 405 freeway, 710 across surface streets, got onto the 710 again, and ended up over here in San Pedro on the 110, getting off at C Street, and ending up down here on the dock. Now heading back northbound. Those trucks are just kind of keeping an eye on him, see what he's doing here, but he is just ripping back and forth along this loading dock for this container company here, large container ship at dock, and here he goes down the end, going to hook a turn here and see where he's going to go from here. And he's making a U-turn back down southbound. And this one truck here with the yellow or the orange cab is really keeping an eye on him, keeping close to him, whipping back and forth. And then there's three trucks, another one coming up on him, right past that one security car. There's the other security, and there's a fourth one now joining. But no black and whites down here that I can speak of. The L.A. Sheriff's helicopter still overhead watching him, and we're just kind of sitting here. He's at real high rates of speed here going through here. So problem is, if he gets going too fast and loses control of this thing, if he goes over the side, it's a long drop into the water. And, this is going to be a different situation for him getting out of that car after going off. But you can see that car has sustained quite a bit of damage. You can see him in the car there just whipping along. Looks like he's wearing maybe a Lakers jersey of some sort. But they've not really gotten close enough to this guy to figure out a description on him because of his speeds. As I said, the 3 different police departments giving up on the pursuit due to the recklessness of this guy, and he's exhibiting it right here on the docks. They didn't want to hurt anybody on the street, so right now they gave up on it, like I said, 3 times, and we're just watching him going back and forth on this dock here in San Pedro. And for the folks just joining us, this is in San Pedro. We're just north of the Vincent Thomas Bridge on a peninsula dock here that services the container ships, and those are the large cranes that he's driving under. And like I said, luckily no activity on the dock right now in a loading situation, but normally these docks are very, very busy bringing the containers to the ships. But now it looks like he's slowing down, kind of getting into a work area. Those white pickup trucks are just kind of keeping an eye on him and seeing where he's going, but they're not going to get in his way. Now he's working his way back northbound here. And you're going to see a container ship here, container carrier going by here, and he's kind of getting in behind this thing. There's that container carrier working its way along. But normally this dock would be completely loaded up with those bringing containers down to be picked up and placed on the ship. But right now, luckily, very quiet. So this is one of the more stranger ones I've seen, especially down here. Normally what happens, they'll get into a situation where they've got themselves blocked in and they do everything they can to get out of it. Right now I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 LAPD police cars coming down into the dock to get into the dock area here. So I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to spike strip him down here because of the size of the area he's in. I don't believe they'll start chasing him in here because there's really no use to chasing him other than just surveil him with using the helicopter. But they're at the dock entrance trying to get into the Yeah, right now I'm watching 5, 6 LAPD police cars stopped at the gate. Now, for my experience as a police officer, if I was commanding this pursuit, I would have them carpet the exit of this area here. He's got to go through a choke point here to get off the peninsula. Now here comes a unit coming in from behind him, and then do the old, hound type thing, chase him to the gate, chase him towards the gate, just work him and, try to get him to go back and then go through there. But now the LAPD units are coming in force, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1 that's out on the dock right now, racing back and forth. So, he bailed out of the car, running up on one of the, on the cranes here. The car's still rolling. He's running up the crane, and the LAPD units now coming in here. You see the truck coming up, and okay, luckily it hit something there, and now he's walking up the crane ladder, working up to the top. Now, I don't know if there's any workers up in there, but knowing these dock workers down here, he's probably going to have a surprise if there is one up there. But LAPD is in force here on the ground now with those 6 or 7 units coming through the gate as we watch him climb one of the big cranes that deliver those containers onto the ship. So hopefully they got the door locked up there, but it's unusual for anybody to be down here on the port that doesn't belong here. So looks like he's running out of steam as he heads up these stairs up towards the top. Now we'll see what happens here. Yeah, kind of taking a break right there, but now LAPD, I'm kind of bringing it around, checking down below. LAPD is all over the ground on this and keeping an eye on him. Well, wait a minute, they haven't got in there yet, Chris. I saw a bunch of cars at the bottom, but right now, LAPD's got a couple cars down there that I can see they're back behind the containers. But you see he's real slowly trying to get up that ladder and into the area where the cab would be, but he's kind of run out of steam going up all those stairs. So Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen when he gets to the top here where the cab is, but yeah, this has an earmark of being a long day here in San Pedro. Well, they try to figure out how to get this guy down. Now, I don't know if there's multiple stairs that get up to the top of this or just this one, but it looks like each crane has one set of stairs that goes up, and so that would mean that whatever he is out of gas trying to get up these stairs. Yeah. And if he's going to go up underneath it, then he'll pop out. Then he'll be up on the area where the cab is. So you want to know what he's going to do. I mean, he could get up here, get in the cab, or walk around the catwalks here and walk out on it, or, no telling. But it's going to be a long, plain story down here in San Pedro where this stolen car suspect has now climbed up on one of the shipping container cranes here in San Pedro. Yeah, he's – and I'm kind of watching to see where he went. He's just going to pop up. Hi, what do you do? Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no reason to rush it now. He's not going anywhere. Only way he can go is jump off it, and it's going to be a long fall if he does that. But the problem is now you just can't leave him there, and so it's going to be a thing to where you can work your way up and try to get up there to him, but you don't know what his state of mind is, or he could be armed too. You always go with that possibility because you don't want to come up second in a gunfight on something like this. So they'll go up with using all caution and all equipment and work their way up there. But right now, the guys on the ground aren't going to rush up there after him, and so he's got to be up underneath that one little big girder right there. So I haven't seen him pop out, and anyway, so we'll kind of keep an eye on it here. Let me send it back to you just for a second. I'm going to check with the air unit down below, see if we can come up with more information on this. Okay, we're heading over there. F5's going to move down to the east side. Mike, I'm right behind you. Okay. It busted a window out. Yeah, he busted a window out and went through the cab door there here on the water side. So, unfortunately, that's going to cause a real issue. Now, he's inside the building that's on top of this crane. So, oh, man, this is not good at all. The port police are in the water down below here. But, I don't know what he could do. I'm sure the folks here, he's poking his head out, crawling out. So, I wouldn't know what's in that building right there. I'm sure the guys that actually operate this thing are out on the end of the arms here that look down onto the ship. So I don't know exactly what would be in that building, but he's decided to come out of there and work his way out. So we'll keep an eye on him here. It's really kind of tough for us to pick him off in all this gantry and ladders and things of that sort. But here he comes walking out on the end of it. He's heading out towards the water side and working his way along. Now, this is a huge crane that they use to pick up those containers, then put them out onto the boat. So right now, it's anybody's guess where he's going to try to end up. And like I said, the control cabin for this is out on the actual arms themselves. It hangs below, so the operator can watch his load dropping down onto the ship. Now, it might be right there with that. Yeah, right there where those windows are in that white. I don't know if that's it or not, but you can see he's walking along in that area here, coming down the one arm of the crane here. But we're trying to listen to the PD ship direct the LAPD units, and there's a bunch of them down on the ground behind where he would come down. But he's just stuck now. He has nowhere to go, and broke into the building or the shed that's on top, and then trying to get in there. Now it just looks like he's trying to get with controls here. Now he's going to crawl over the edge. He has absolutely no clue what he's doing up there. He's just trying to figure something out. But, oh, man, this is, yeah. No, I was looking on the back side of there. There's only one set of stairs for each one of these cranes, and the one he went up is that. And I'm sure there's some type of emergency system here that these guys can come out of, but he'd have to know about that. And he's walking out to the very end of the boom now, out over the stern of the ship that's at dock. In fact, he's between two ships at the dock here, so he's no way he can jump on them. And he's just walking out, shaking his arms. And go ahead. Yep, there, like I said, if he goes off the end of this crane towards the water thinking he can make that dive, it's going to be a rude awakening, because this crane is taller than the Vincent Thomas Bridge. So it's, at that point, it's not going to be water that he hits, and we'll keep an eye on that. So right there, you see there's like a little catwalk right there that goes down that little, so see what he does here. I don't know where that goes, but other than just underneath the crane. And I'm looking down to see, because the actual control cab runs on the rails here and goes back and forth with the load. So it looks like the crane part of it might be retracted. So right now he's going down a little catwalk here that goes down. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to pop out, whether it's right there where Chris is showing you. No, that's actually the back leg. Man, it's anybody's guess what this clown's going to do. I'm sorry, but the subject's going to do. It's I've never seen anything like this. I mean, this guy obviously, didn't plan this. He didn't run to a neighborhood that he's familiar with, as we normally say. He just ran until he came up with another idea, and now his idea is to crawl up here on the crane, and there he is popping back out. Obviously can't get anywhere from there. And as I was going to say earlier, I'm sure the longshoremen down here have shut off all power to this crane, so there's not really too much he can do. Now he's walking back along the northern arm back towards that shed where he broke in earlier. So now we're just going to keep an eye on him. But LAPD now, this is going to turn into a SWAT situation for them. There's no other way to handle this. They're going to have to keep eye on him from the air. Sheriff's Department helicopter still overhead, and they're going to take their time and figure out a way to get this guy to negotiate with him to get him to give up. Now he's walking an area that's not secure, walking out on that arm. So there's no secure for him on either side, and below him is a little bit of dock and a little bit of boat. So right now he just looks like he's talking to himself. He's really tired, going to sit down here and take a break. And, as you said, Micah, he might be under the influence. There may be some mental issues here, but obviously not a rational person to do this. And just watching his body language, he's definitely has some type of issue going on here. So he is trapped, nowhere to go. So it's up to him to figure out how he wants to end this. So as you see, it's for the folk. Yeah, it's hard. It's, the officers are going to have to deal with this. Now, he's in an area where there's no guardrails or anything of that sort, so it'd be really difficult for them to approach him at that point. And the LA Fire Department putting out airbags. I mean, that's a long ways. You can see right here, he's right off the stern of this one container ship, so he has water underneath him right now. But then again, as I said, this tower is very, very high, so extremely high. So that's not going to help him if he thinks he's going to hit that water. And I don't know how they're going to do this. It's going to be hopefully a negotiations to get him out, get him to get down, and try to maybe get a hold of a family member to talk to him, or use some type of PA system to talk to him from the helicopter, and do whatever they can. But right now he's just sitting back up against that large eye mount there, just kind of talking to himself and just contemplating probably what he wants to do next if he has that ability. So we're going to some footage we shot earlier here of him in the yard, ripping around that car, racing back and forth underneath these cranes. As I was mentioning at that time, luckily the port had pretty much shut down at this ship. There wasn't a lot of workers out there to get in the way, and finally he just abandoned that car and ran up the side of this crane, which is used to load those containers onto ships. But we're here in a standstill right now, waiting for LAPD to bring in their special teams in here to do this, take care of it. He has only one way off this crane that I can see, is just that one ladder he went up. But at one point he was really tearing around the docks down here in San Pedro off of C Street. It's where he came off the 110 freeway. And as you were mentioning, Mike, this is a low jack vehicle taken out of Rancho Park earlier today. LAPD Pacific Division got in pursuit of it twice. And then later on in the afternoon, Torrance PD got in pursuit of it. Both of them gave up on a pursuit because he was driving so recklessly. And then later on, the air unit from Hawthorne PD, Air 55, picked it up and chased it down into Long Beach area and around Long Beach. Long Beach PD monitored it while it was in their city but did not engage. And the LA County Sheriff's helicopter stuck with it till it ended up back on the 110, getting off at C Street, ending up here on the dock. So that's been the progression of this guy. He's been racing around all day long. From what we understand, the car possibly was low jacked equipped, so that's how the police department was able to track him and find him multiple times. And so that's how we ended up in this situation right here. He's up here just sitting on top of this crane in the dock, and then facing out towards the ocean. So for folks from the area, we're in that San Pedro area just north of the Vincent Thomas Bridge. And I can tell you, Coast Guard and now more fire department boats are on their way down here to contain the water side in case he decides to come off, but also for vantage point of keeping an eye on him from the water side. But yeah, this is going to be a long playing operation here for the police departments here in the port. Police, also the LAPD down here from from San Pedro Harbor Division, keeping an eye on him and then formulating a plan to be able to get up here and hopefully talk him off the top of this container loader. But it's not going to be easy for these guys. I don't know how officers are going to get in a position to where they can even get close to him, because, as I said, no railing, no way to stay on that thin area there. That's the arm for the loading apparatus here for the container ship. So I'm really lucky that I'm sitting up here and not a sergeant down there trying to figure out how to handle this. It's a little of both that I've been watching. The workers are in the white cars, but there is a pile of LAPD cars down there as well. You can see right there at the base of the crane. So they've all joined in here. I'm sure some of those are the Metro units that work on the shift that have come down here. And like I said, I'm keeping an eye on him mostly. I can't really tell from there if there's any officers have gone up the crane itself. But I'd be very surprised if anybody's gone up there yet because, like I said, or as Micah said, time is on their side. They're not going to rush this. And from where we're sitting, it's real hard to pick him off and see him on that crane and to be able to see the officers down there. So I'm sure they're getting intelligence from the longshoremen who are down here working these cranes. They know, like the back of their hands. They're giving them intelligence on what's up there, how to get up there. There may be a safety way to get up there, that they have in case something goes wrong and somebody has to escape from here. They come down an escape route. That's what they're trying to formulate a plan using all the information that they can get from the dock workers down here. And then from there, they will come up with a way to either go up there, at least get close to him with a PA system or a bullhorn and talk to him. Try to say something that'll convince him just to stand up and walk back to them and give up. But you never know what you're dealing with up here. Is it mental illness? Is it under influence of a narcotic, alcohol, what it is? And what you're dealing with is you have to figure it out once you get up there and then flex your operation with your findings. So the guys that do this for a living down there, they know how to negotiate with folks like this, and they'll take it nice and easy and slow. And so we'll keep an eye on him here and see what we do. Being called by one of the helicopters. Let me get on that, and I'll be right back with you. Well, I would guess that's what's going on here. I'm going to move Sky 5 around here a little bit to the west so we can get an angle on the backside of this crane where he went up, and I'm going to see if what those officers are doing there. Trying to, I doubt if they're heading up there yet because of, they have to wait for the right resources to arrive on scene. They have no worries about him escaping because he's pretty much got one way down. And we'll bring it around here as we try and just make sure that we can keep an eye on him and see what's going on here. So let me kind of bring it around here for Chris Haug, my camera operator here, keeping a close eye on him. And now I'm on a side where I can look down out the window as I'm bringing a Sky 5 around. You see the boats down below, LA's Port Police and their boat, as well as Coast Guard and Fire Department. And what I'm seeing is just the police down below right at the base there, just standing there. You see the dock workers in their vests, along with the police department officers there. But looking over towards her, there's the car that he let go. It bailed out with a roll, and lucky he just hit a gantry. And there's the ladder he went up. So let's look up there and see if we see anybody up in that area. I mean, they can safely go up to that point, but after that, then you got to be careful not to, let him see you and cause him to do something rash. That's their main thing. They're trying to protect this guy and protect him from himself, so they don't want to get out there and agitate him and cause him to do something wrong. But here he's now laying down on that arm. And, that arm is not that wide. If you just use him as a reference, it's not that wide, and it's a long ways down from under there. And just looking at the way the Vincent Thomas Bridge is here, it's equal to or just a little bit higher than that bridge. So it's going to be a long drop from there because this is up on a raised dock itself. Then you have a high crane on a gantry here, and so yeah, it's not going to be a successful dive if he goes off there, hits that water. But Coast Guard is here, Port Police, LA City Fire on the dock side, on the water side, and then LAPD posted up on the dock side here, keeping an eye on things and formulating a plan. Like I said, coming from my police experience, it's really easy to slow it down, figure it out, have a plan, get all the intel you can get on the apparatus he's on, ways to get up there without him seeing you, and then start working your way into it to try to negotiate, because they always start with negotiations. And other than that, looking at this situation here, there's nothing left. There's no other option they have. You're not going to have officers go out there and put hands on him on that beam. So right now it's just going to be a negotiations with this guy once they get up there. So we'll keep an eye on it here in Stampede. Go ahead. Right. Right. Yeah, they're going to have to, like I was saying here, it's out of the realm of any officer going out there and putting hands on him. They're going to go into the negotiation mode, which they normally start with. They'll try to assess what type of mental situation we have here, whether he's just a person who's trying to get away and is now stuck, or is he under the influence of some type of narcotic or alcohol, or does he have a mental condition that's causing this? Because obviously he's not acting normal here the way he was driving, and then to climb up here onto this tower of this container ships here in San Pedro, and now standing out on the end of that. As you can see how big this thing is, it's quite a way. If he decides to go off of it, that water is not going to help him when he hits it. Good. Okay. Video only. Okay. And just let everybody know that if he goes off, we're just going to let him go out of frame. Two and a half minutes. Oh, okay. No, we're just going to let him go out of frame. All right. Roger. You can do double box still. Yes. Wow, this has been a real strange ending to a pursuit here, ending up in this port of San Pedro on a crane here. And this all started about 3:10 with LAPD attempting to stop it twice, and then Torrance PD trying, and now down in the port here. We've learned that this is the highest crane in the port that he's picked to climb up on per the dock workers down below. And luckily, they were on their lunch break during the time when he came in racing around. As you see there on the screen, he came in and just screaming around in the dock down here, racing back and forth, and luckily didn't go over the side, eventually abandoning his car and then coming up on the loading gantry of this container loading dock here where the ships come in. And right now you see him here just parked out of one of the long arms that stretch out over the water with absolutely no security. So it's got a very particular situation for LAPD to be able to take care of this. I'm sure they have negotiators en route and are making a plan to get up here and get him down. We'll keep an eye on this and bring you the latest as it becomes available. Micah, let me send it back down to you. Yeah. Is he behind that pole right there? All right. I had to turn the ship to get off air back. Go ahead. Now, I did notice what the boat name was. There's two of them here. Okay, this is the China shipping line dock down here. And if you can figure out which pier it is, like pier 34, pier whatever, down here, that would something to talk about as well. Think we can reach it? So, yep. Century, copy. It's gone back to regular broadcast now. An hour and 11 minutes. We have 2, 4, 6, 80 minutes left. 8-0. And in case you're guessing, 80 minutes left on scene. 8-0. It doesn't work when it's sitting still. Yeah, it's very windy out there. Yeah, they're probably on either simplex or some tack down here. And good evening to folks still watching on the streaming KTLA.com and on the app. We're over San Pedro Harbor here where a pursuit suspect got up out of a car here on the pier and went up onto one of these loading cranes here in the harbor. And you see, what was that? Who's talking to me, Chris? I'm sorry. Oh. Hey, Deb? I got off air turned off now. Anyways, where you see his arm sticking out, he's sitting in the area here between the little pylon there that comes off one of the arms. I'm going to slide Sky 5 around to the western and see if we can get a better look at him. 5's coming around the west. And it's been going on now, this pursuit. The first pursuit started about 3:10 this afternoon up on La Brea in L.A. where LAPD got in pursuit of this vehicle. Apparently has some type of GPS tracking device on it. We earlier were told it was a LoJack, and found out later it was taken off of a car dealer lot out in San Bernardino. And they were able to notify the local PDs where the car was. LAPD got a pursuit. It was so fast that they gave up on it and let him go. And then later on found it again. Another pursuit ensued. And then again he basically drove so poorly that they were afraid he was going to crash and hurt somebody else. They gave up on the pursuit. And then probably about 30 minutes later, Torrance PD picked up on the pursuit. It went on for about 10 minutes, and then they let go. But by that time, L.A. County Sheriff's helicopter had gotten overhead and took over the surveillance. And then off it went through Torrance, Wilmington, over into Long Beach, back westbound, ending up on the 710, then off, and then working its way over here towards the port of Los Angeles, and then continuing on here on the 110 freeway, getting off on the 110 freeway at C Street, and then ending up here in the dock area of San Pedro here, right next to the Vincent. Right in the area of the Vincent Thomas Bridge. Hold on one second. And 35, TV5, go ahead. 35, TV5, go ahead. I don't know how far they're going to let you into the yard. It's at the very end of the dock. I'm looking down for you. Are you on C Street right now? All right, yeah, you're behind me there. I'm looking for you. I think I don't know if it's Ocean Drive or what it is that goes down into the cruise terminal. Yeah, I'm looking for you down there on the major. I'm not seeing you. Anyway, if you come down, you see the large dirt hill here with an American flag on it. Do you see that? All right. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Right now, for the folks on the web, I'm trying to direct one of our ground units into the area. So you're listening to the raw feed here from Sky 5 as we deal with different things. Yeah, C Street is when he came off the freeway. I'm looking back there. Yeah, if you come around C Street, you'll see the entrance of the yard here just to the north when you go under the Vincent Thomas Bridge. All right, did you just make a left-hand turn? No. All right, yeah. All right, I thought I had you there for a second. Yeah, just C Street, and it'll come down here, and you'll see the entrance. Now, I don't know if they're going to let you in or not. I'll keep an eye out for you, and but they just came off lunch break here, and so activity has kicked up pretty heavy down here. And as you can see, the subject still standing on the crane. We got a phone call from one of the longshoremen down here is telling us that this crane that he crawled up on is the tallest one in the port. And I can tell you that comparing it to the Vincent Thomas Bridge, it's either equal to or higher than the Vincent Thomas Bridge. And should he decide, I'm looking for a number on it, stand by. We'll check here. If from the north, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth crane from the north. It says crane 85 if you can see it, crane 85. Okay, I'll be listening for you. Whew, man, I'm hot. All right, back with you folks on KTLA.com and streaming here. You can see him here. He's standing on the gantry arm that sticks out over the water. He's taking off his shoes and his shirt, and he was doing handstands at one point. So the LAPD is not sure exactly what they're dealing with here. A situation like this is very difficult for them. There's only one way up that I know of. That's the way the suspect went up. There's those set of stairs there, and climbed all the way up to the top, went up all the way up those stairs to the top. Then there's the equipment room, that big white building right there. He, on the opposite side, there's a door with a window. He smashed that window out, crawled inside, was in there for about a minute, came back out, and then went all the way out to the end of this crane here. to the very end, stood out there for a bit, and then came back down to where he's at now on one of the support columns on that arm. So right now, LAPD they're basically getting ready down below, formulating a plan to get him up here, and negotiators are going to be the key here, because it's going to be impossible for the officers to go out there and even touch or go on hands-on with him, because there's no safety for that officer nor for the suspect. And you can see the multiple gantries that are, or ladders that are there along the gantry, so he could start squirreling around on those, going all over. But right now, he looks like he's content to stand right there between those two pillars on the loading crane. As we say, we're here in San Pedro, right next to the Vincent Thomas Bridge on the LA side, just off the end of the 110 freeway at C Street is where he exited. For you folks just joining us, this all started this afternoon. This car was stolen from a lot in San Bernardino. It has a GPS signal on it, or a system on it, and LAPD picked up on it, had a short pursuit. They picked up on it twice, actually, both times letting it go to do the reckless driving. And then Torrance PD chased it for a bit. And then finally, later on, the Hawthorne Police Department's Air 55 picked it up and followed it until a sheriff's air unit got overhead and was able to surveil it from the air. We came down through Long Beach, back through Wilmington, ended up here in San Pedro, where he got off the 110 freeway at C Street, ended up on this loading dock here, and raced around that loading dock for quite a while. And luckily, from information we're getting for a couple of longshoremen down there, it was during their lunch hour, so there was very little activity on the dock, luckily for them. So he was just ripping back and forth underneath these cranes, screeching around, kind of drifting that car, and then finally giving up and bailing out of that car and then scrambling up onto this crane. So it's been a very unusual pursuit, a very unusual situation right now, and we just have to watch and see what LAPD does with this, working in concert with LA Port Police, LA City Fire, and the U.S. Coast Guard, who is also on scene here with their boats in the water. So right now we're at just a wait and see over San Pedro Harbor. Is that gas, or is that you? Go ahead, 35. Oh, yeah, you're way off to the okay, east. Okay, are you okay, I see you. Yeah, you're across the water from it. All right, if you count from your right to left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's right between those two ships that are across from you. Yeah, so on that one, it's basically, if you look at that one, he's on the, look from where you're looking, he'll be on the right gantry, the right post that comes out. So you're right, about a third of the way out. There's two large pillars that poke up, and he's right between those pillars. Yeah, I don't know if you have an angle from where you're at, but I'm sure you might be able to. Yes. No. I'm listening now. Who's saying that? No problem, man. What do you need? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you look at the two ships that are there, he's on the one that's right between them. It has clear water underneath him. Or is he over the stern? Okay, I did a better look here. If you look at the stern of the north ship, the stern of the northmost ship, he's right over the stern of that one. Let me look around, see if we find any. I don't really see any in the lot. I doubt if they're going to let them down here. But let me look around. If I do spot one, I'll let you know. Yeah, unscheduled breaking news. And if you're still watching here on the live streaming web, it's been a long day watching this guy up here on the gantry. We're learning this is the tallest gantry in the harbor, 160 feet. That's how high above the water he is. So that's a long way to go to hit water. And at that height, the water is just going to be like concrete. So we're keeping an eye here. on him. LAPD is still formulating plans. We're listening to them talk among themselves here with the helicopter and the officers on the ground. Right now, they're trying with the helicopter's PA system to talk to him to see if they get any reaction out of him. But earlier, the Sheriff's Department had attempted that and didn't really get much of any response from here. But you see he's taken off his Lakers jersey, his shoes, and just standing right between those two pillars on that gantry. And we're here in the LAPD area. They're going to drop down and have try again to talk to him, and they just called him James. So not just what they said, talking with their command post down here. Stand by, Nydia. Hey, oops. And 35, where he's at, if you look at the ship that's furthest north, in fact, there's a Port Police gray inflatable right there in the water. You see that? He is pretty much off the end of the one next to him. It's fifth crane from the Vincent Thomas Bridge. And he's on, if you're facing it, the right gantry. Okay. Okay, if you look across at all the cranes, one of the crane in the middle there has its gantry pointing up. Do you see that one? Okay, it's the one to the right of that one in your perspective, to the right. Okay. Sorry, Nitty, I was talking to 35. Go ahead. Not really. Go ahead. You call me? What? I heard Nickerson Gardens. I've got a ton of things going on in my ears up here. What's going on? Okay, you want us to leave for there? I would say about 7 minutes or so. It's right next to the 105. Okay. Slater. And 5's out of here north on the 110. See ya. And Torrance Tower, TV5, we're all finished here. Pick up north 110.